following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, and welcome to 50 Shades of Bullshit. I'm your host, Christine Lalonde, and this is the podcast where we uncover the truth about online dating. Now let's begin. Hey everybody, I'm Christine.
I am Jada. Hello.
And this is 50 Shades of Bullshit today. Jada,
yes!
we're so happy to have you back.
Last week was a little bit of a hiccup.
So for those who didn't hear last week, we were talking on the phone. It was like 1 p.m. in LA time, and we're just chatting. And she's like, "Is our show today or tomorrow?" And I was like, "Girl, it's tomorrow, normal time." And then at 2:00, I was like, "Holy shit, is it Thursday?" And she's like, "Yeah, all day." And I was like, "The show's today, not tomorrow. What am I talking about?" I thought it was Wednesday all day. So
that is funny.
So Jada didn't make it.
No, sorry.
It was a good show though. We talked
about
sex.
I watched it. I wish I could have.
It was great. It was great. So I have had the most incredible day yesterday.
Okay.
I couldn't wait to tell you.
Okay.
The show Ghost Adventures with Zach Baggins?
Yes.
Okay, so I've had a mad girl crush on him since 2007, right?
Okay.
That's when the show started. Yeah. I'm a big fan. I get a call a week or so ago that says, "Hey, someone from a producer of some ghost show." Mm-hmm. And it was like, "Oh yeah, we heard that you work at Orchid Ranch, and we heard that you had some ghost encounters." And I said, "Yeah, I'm a medium. I'm like a sensitive, an empath, a psychic. I have encounters all the time." Mm-hmm. And he said, "Well, would you like to, be interviewed for our show?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll think about it." So then I get an email from them, and I look at it, and I look at it again, and it's Ghost Adventures. And I'm like, ain't no way I am not going to be on that show. So we filmed last night. They interviewed me on the show, and I stood 1.5 feet from Zach Baggins looking him directly in the eye, and I thought I was going to die. I literally thought I was going to die. I've been telling my boyfriend for the last few days, it's a good thing that I am in a relationship with you.
Because otherwise...
He says it is a good thing because you're not. No. I was like, holy shit, Zach Baggins is a hottie patati.
But look at the universe. Do you see? Look at that universe. What you did.
It was fun. He was cute, yes, but it was a lot of fun.
Now, where is this going to be? Is it going to be somewhere that I could listen to it or watch it?
Yeah, Ghost Adventures. I don't know what station it's on. I don't know. I'll have to look it up, but I'll have to let you know when the episode airs. And then that way you can watch it. All of the whole time I kept thinking, please don't make me look fat. Please don't make me look fat. It's on the Travel Network or Travel Channel.
I'm gonna
plug it in. Anyway, how's your week? Is it good?
Sorry, I didn't know what that was. My week has been good. It's been productive. It's been busy, which is good. A lot of love connections happening, which is great.
Oh, so yes, that's great.
It's been good.
Great.
It's been good. Yeah,
I love it. I'm excited. So, by the way, you missed our meeting yesterday. We had the dating.
I heard about industry.
We had a great talk. I did talk about the profile videos that I've created for you guys, and everybody seemed pretty excited about it. So that was really good. That was the highlight. But we have to get you to LA by June because you need to come to our annual party. So we'll keep you posted on that.
I did have a couple people reach out to me after that had some interest in. I'm so bummed that I missed it, but I was on a client call. But I heard it went really well, and there is interest in it, so that's exciting.
That's great. I love it. Today, well, last week we talked about some hot, steamy sex stuff, and today we're talking about some hot, steamy sex stuff. So, sex stuff. I can't talk because sex just makes me not talk. Maybe I need to have more of it, so I'll shut the fuck up. Today is called Sexual Freedom. And we have Brittany Clark on with us today. She is a relationship coach who helps clients find their identity, and she helps her clients find peace with themselves through sexual exploration, kink, and navigating true love. Ooh, girlfriend. So Brittany believes that there are so many benefits coming from being able to identify and fulfill your sexual desires. So today she's here to talk with us about cultivating safe conversations and healing around all things taboo. And girlfriend, I am all about all things taboo.
I've got so many questions. I'm excited.
Let's bring Tiffany on. And Tiffany, I'm so glad. I'm so sorry. Brittany. Good God. See, I told you I couldn't fucking talk. Brittany.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Brittany, where?
Tomato.
You're much prettier than a Tiffany would be.
Thank you.
There we go. I've insulted every Tiffany in the world. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. They'll get over it.
I was just, building Brittany up since I blotched her name. So
there you go.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Well, hi, Brittany. Thank you for coming and talking to us about sex today. I can't speak, so I hope you have a lot to say. Tell us about you and how you got involved in doing this kind of work.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So I'm Brittany. I live in the beautiful state of Kentucky. Not from here, though. I'm from New Jersey. I'm an East Coast girl. So I have all the sass and all the attitude that anyone can ever need wrapped up into one person, right?
Go, girl.
I got into this work. I went through an excruciating heartbreak a few years ago, and that was my only sexual partner at the time. So it was my entire adult life that I'd been with her. And once we broke up, I completely lost my shit, right? Like most of us do. And I was like, let me go out there and just explore. So the first person that I slept with after her was, I fully identify as lesbian, but it was a man. I was having a manic episode, did that, and was like, let me.
Manic episode.
We love it, right?
Yeah.
So after that, I was like, let me go ahead and explore this some more. Let me go ahead and see what sex is like with multiple partners. Let me see how it can benefit my life. And honestly, it completely changed everything about the trajectory of how my future would go. I mean, my confidence grew. I mean, it was 360. Brittany, who I was then in the breakup and who I was after that. Oh my gosh. So I really believe that sex can change your life, and that's how I got into this. And so here I am today to talk about all the crazy things, sugar baby life, whatever. We're here for it.
I love it. So I have a couple questions. Did the manic episode make you just really confirm that you're a lesbian, or did it make you question maybe you are bi?
So it really confirmed that I was a lesbian, but it also confirmed that there are things that I would definitely do for a check. So
don't we all, sister? I'm telling you, we'll all do something for a fucking check. So okay, were you in your 20s your first relationship?
Yeah, so it was most of my adult life. Yeah, so I'm headed into my 30th year here in 2 months. So, but it was a long time. It was a really long, wild adventure.
I find, tell me if I'm wrong, if this is not your experience or not, but I have found that when people get into a relationship in their 20s and they didn't have that heartbreak as a teenager, that heartbreak becomes a little bit more manic and a little bit more bigger because those feelings are so unknown to you and you didn't get to experience that through your growing teen years of learning about love and all those fun things. So did you find that it was like that for you?
Oh, I completely agree. I was raised really religious, so there were things that we were not allowed to do and things that we were allowed to do. It was a pretty strict, like, in religious environment. So there were, like I said, a lot of rules and regulations to how dating could go. And so, yeah, as a teenager, I just wasn't exposed to heartbreak or what that was like. So when it actually happened for the first time, I literally thought that I was dying. I thought I was having a heart attack every single day. I was like, why does no one talk about this? Why did no one prepare me for this? What is going on? And one of my goals is to help people not ever go through that again, because people need to be educated about how painful and how much of an effect that can have on you.
Yeah, heartbreak can really be a physical feeling. You literally feel like this spot in your chest is just like so tight and constricted, and it feels like you can't breathe and you're suffocating. It's terrible. So I get it. I've had a lot. I've had a lot of them.
It makes you stronger.
I sounded like a smoker there. I had a lot of them. Okay, so tell us about sexual freedom. What is your feeling about it? What is your definition about it?
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, sexual freedom for me is just your desire, like your ability to embrace your desires openly without shame or guilt, right? Or insecurity, because I feel like a lot of times we associate sex with something that's to be kept a secret, something that we can't really talk about out loud to other people. Something that we can only talk about with our partners. And even then, I feel like a lot of people don't even express their sexual desires with their partner. And then there's so much insecurity around it, whether it be how you look physically, whether it be how you portray yourself as a person. And like, don't even get me started with going into like new partnerships or new sexual experiences. There's so much insecurity and so much nerve that come with it, with each experience. And so for me, being sexually free is just all about bashing that wall and being so confident in yourself that you can go into any sexual experience knowing that you're that girl, right? Like, you're the shit. And like, the person that's with you wants to be with you. They're not just there because they actually desire you. So
yeah,
I
would
that.
say too, like talking about when you go through a breakup and then you have a new partner, you not only go through the insecurities, but you have to get into a rhythm. You have to like make sure that it works. And usually the first time, sometimes people are super nervous and it's never good. So I definitely would advise communicating so that you're both on the same page, because you're learning someone's entire everything all over, especially if you've been in a relationship for a long time.
Yeah, I think that first time is really a tricky situation to get through. Either it's a right kind of person for you and the sex is horrible the first time and you're like, oh my God, I'm never going to have sex with that person again because it's terrible. And you don't realize that it just gets better and better and better as you get to know each other. Or you have this big, like, mind-blowing experience the first time and it's not the right person for you. And so you get so hung up on that person that it's all about sex and not about the real relationship. So it's a really tricky thing to navigate through.
Yeah. I'm curious. I saw on I think it was your Instagram page, you talked about submission. And it's interesting. I just had a call. A couple days ago with somebody that is very into a BDSM lifestyle. And we talked a lot about submission and what that looks like. So is that something that you like coach or teach through your practice, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people are curious about submission and dominance and where they fall on that scale, which I feel like I recommend every single person take the BDSM test. I took it and I learned a million freaking things about myself.
I didn't know there was such a thing as a test.
Oh my gosh, yes, there is.
What is it and where do you find it?
Yeah, it's just, if you Google BDSM test, it'll come up. I think it's like one of the first links that it generates, and you take this little quiz, and it gives you like your percentages of where you fall in like each BDSM category. It's amazing. I took it a few months ago, I think in the winter, and it completely changed how I view myself. I was like, oh my gosh, is this really me?
Well, not only figuring out if you have tendencies to be open to BDSM or if it turns you on or whatever, but then you have to find the partner that is also into that you are attracted to, that you know mesh with. It's a tricky thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I can imagine there's probably people that are into it that don't want to say that they're into it from like the shame perspective.
Oh, hold on. Yes. But when I was dating my manic dating stage, every freaking guy asked, what do you like? Do you like BDSM? Do you like to be spanked? Do you like your hair pulled? Crap like that. And I'd say, yeah, of course I do. And I was really open about it. And the next thing you know, they're acting like they're the king of BDSM, and they were not. They didn't understand it. They didn't get it. They'd be like, it was weird. So it's like it took me, I had to learn the hard way that it should take me a while to tell somebody, because then they don't like me for just that kind of thing and think it's just going to be a sexual encounter.
Yeah. I could see that. I could see that. I could see a guy being like, yeah, so let me spank you. Here's some handcuffs. And they think that's what it is. And I'm finding out after I spoke to that person and did a little more research, there is like a lot more to it. It is not just 50 Shades of Grey. It is like heavy.
Well, 50 Shades of Grey was about the contract.
Yeah.
50 Shades of Grey was all about the contract. They never got into anything good.
Agreed. And also, like, really, when it comes to like BDSM and any submissive dominant relationship, not every, like, if you identify as a submissive, not every dominant partner that you have is going to have the same boundaries with you, because you may let one person choke you and not another. There's safety that goes into it, your risk that goes into it. There's so many other emotional factors, so that your partners are all going to be different, and they're not going to be able to do the same things in every single sexual experience that they have with you. So what you do with one person will probably not happen in the same exact way with another.
So I remember every single time I'd go to have sex with somebody, and either like the first, second, or third time or whatever, and they would go to choke me, I would immediately flash to, oh shit, is this the day I die by some guy who's going to choke me out and kill me? Because I didn't know him, and I didn't feel comfortable yet because we weren't in a relationship. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know if he was going to murder me or not. And that first time out, when they do that and they've not asked you, or not even asked a safe word, or not even asked, what you're comfortable with, and they just go right to it, those are people who don't understand. And those are people who need to educate themselves, because they're in a really seriously strong, powerful position. You know what I mean? So it's tough. So yeah. Leaving you on that note.
I'm here for it.
You're like, do it. So tell us more how we can find a bigger sexual freedom in our lives.
I think exploration. I think we live in 2023. Like, we're all here in 2023 for a reason. We have so many resources at our fingertips, which, like, again, like if I were born 100 years ago, like I probably would not be having this conversation right now. Well, for obvious reasons, but but I think that we have resources at our fingertips for a reason. And I am a big advocate of the internet. Oh my gosh, any like dating app. Facebook has 1,000,001 BDSM or kink groups, and they're not there just to find partnership. They're there just for education. They're there to ask questions of people who have done this in a way that is ethical, in a way that really works for them, in a way that they can teach and educate. There's so many facets. I mean, I learned about like the master-slave relationship within the last year, and that was just so mind-blowing for me. And just to hear what that's like, and even when you think about, because I think a lot of people like lump different types of relationships into the kink life, whether it be like polyamorous relationships, things like that, which are not necessarily kinky, right? Like those are just, that's just the way that you love. And so, but there are dynamics that do have many aspects of kink. There are people who are like into bondage and things like that. So you can find BDSM groups for anything, and you'll learn a lot. Like you'll really resonate with what a lot of people what they're saying. I mean, whether it be a submissive brat, whether it be a femdom, whether it be just a dominant man, like whatever that is, whatever your desire is, those BDSM groups, those kink groups, those FetLife groups, there's a million and one of them. And the good thing about Facebook now is that a lot of the groups that you join are anonymous. So, you know, it doesn't show, you know, like 10 years ago, you go on Facebook, join a group, everyone on your feed could see that you joined it. It's not the same when it comes to some of these more private groups. So you can be in them, you can be in them safely, and you can post anonymously. You can ask questions anonymously so that it can create safety for yourself, especially as you're beginning to explore.
I love that. We have a new producer. She is amazing, Rebel. She actually just put on there, she just in the back chat, she's talking to us, and she posted this thing called badgirlsbible.com/BDSM-limits. Says learn what your limits are and discover hard and soft limits. That's cool. There's lots of different resources. I do agree with you, Brittany. It's just if you find that you are interested or that kind of this sounds fascinating to you, you know, research is really great. Like you said, going out there, just putting in BDSM, just, you know, education. Maybe add the word education so you don't get like scared with visual.
Right.
Though the visual's pretty good. So tell us more about how a woman or man, I mean, to each his own, but you know, we're a bunch of girls talking about girls. Tell us more about how women can start to open up and communicate and feel freedom in not having a taboo, being able to just freely express or being open to hearing about other people's fantasies or desires or whatever.
I think the first thing that I would say is just to acknowledge that sex is normal, right? Like just that simple truth that sex is normal, and that what I feel and like what my desires are not new necessarily. Someone else out there has already had this desire, has already had this experience. And so I know by default, just starting at the default page of you are not alone is so important. And then I think that the second thing that I would tell anybody is that before you can start openly expressing or openly, you know, communicating or having these dialogues with people, you have to feel safe within yourself. Because if you don't feel safe to acknowledge your wants and how you feel and that you're okay, I think a lot of times sex makes people feel like they're not okay, that they're an anomaly, that they're far-fetched, that they're out there, and they're not. It's fine, it's okay. You know, I can't express that enough. And so I think first creating that safety within yourself, I think that's the foundational, fundamental piece of being able to explore with somebody else. Because if you don't feel safe and you feel like yourself, you're at risk and you're at flight risk and you can't face yourself with your truth, then you cannot I would never recommend someone go and explore partnerships with other people if you don't have that safety inside of yourself yet.
Oh, I agree. 100%. So Barry Selby, he is a relationship and coach. And yesterday I saw this incredible post, and it reminded me of what you were talking about and what Rebel was putting in about Bad Girls Bible. Just like religious type things. And one of the things he posted yesterday, and I wanted to pull that up because I think it's really important. He posted this thing yesterday that was called I Believe in God of Spinoza. Have y'all heard of that?
No.
And it's written it says when Einstein gave lectures at US University, he God bless America. The recurring question that students asked him most was, do you believe in God? And he always answered, I believe in the God of Spinoza. And basically it is, I'm going to screw this up. I am definitely going to screw this up, but it is a Dutch philosopher from the 17th century philosophy. His name was, let's see if I can get this right. This is what I'm going to screw up. Baruch de Spinoza. Okay. And he would go on to speak, let me read this. And it's just the beginning because I think it's really important. He said, God would say, stop praying. What I want you to do is go out into the world and enjoy your life. I want you to sing, have fun, and enjoy everything I made for you. Then he goes on to talk about churches and blah, blah, blah. Here's the best part. It's a big, long thing. And anybody who has a second, please check it out. It's incredible. But it says, stop blaming me for your miserable life. This is God speaking. I never told you there was anything wrong with you or that you were a sinner or that your sexuality was a bad thing. Sex is a gift I have given you and with which you can express your love, your ecstasy, and your joy. So don't blame me for everything that everyone else made you believe. And that was the most important thing that stuck with me, is because I think a lot of people have this thing that we've been raised with, that we can't talk about sex. We can't engage in certain kind of sex. The man-made religion that has this is my opinion, that is forced, I always have to say that has forced us to swallow the fact that we should be ashamed of our bodies and that sex is only for creating children. It's just not true, because if it was only for creating children, we wouldn't have pleasure zones.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We wouldn't be able to orgasm. I mean, what's the point of feeling pleasure if you're just going to limit it to one act and then not explore what your body is capable of doing, what your mind is capable of doing?
Yeah. Because, I mean, there is a lot that ties into sexual intimacy and activity. It's not just the actual act. It can be tantric, it could be mental, it could be so many different things. Mm-hmm. So I think, Christine, what you just said, to your point, I mean, that's kind of a big deal. And I think sometimes people don't think about it. We think of sex as sex, like the actual act of sex. But there are so many different ways that you can please and pleasure somebody without the actual act itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Intimacy goes far beyond just that physical connection. There's emotional intimacy, mental intimacy, so many different ways that you can be intimate with somebody.
So you coach people, Brittany, right? Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, who wrote what?
No, I was trying to think, and I was going to look it up, but I can't think of who the artist is. But isn't there a singer? Isn't there someone who is known, does like tantric sex with his wife, and their sexual acts are like hours? Sting. That's who it is.
I was just going to say
it. Hours and hours. Hours, from what I hear. Yeah. So that's I wanted to tie that to that, but I couldn't think of who the person was.
Yeah, I would, I enjoy that, hours and hours, but there are times you just need to hit it and quit it. Yep, like
sometimes I got
shit to do and I'm tired, but yet I want to have a connection with you, so let's just do it and let's just get it good.
Yeah.
Good.
Right? Brittany, you coach people. What are some of the ways that you maybe tell them or help them discover how to be more free?
I think a lot of it's such a process. And I think, like I said, the first thing that I always address is the person, right? Like before we can even like branch out and, get them into that sexy zone in their life, and that period where they're just doing and banging who and what they want whenever they want. There's a lot of personal development work that has to go on, which is why, with dating and relationships or sexual freedom in relationships, I've been in all, parts of coaching in all the realms. I think that the greatest relationship that you'll ever have is one with yourself, right? Because at the end of the day, that's one that you're going to take out of this world with you. That's one that came into this world with you. And so I think a lot of things that I have worked with people have been their insecurity, right? Whether it be them stop body shaming themselves, or whether they understand, like I said, when you're on that date with that person, even if it's not, sexual, if you're not having sex, that's not the intent. Like, even if you're just on a date, simple breakfast, lunch, dinner, understanding that that person is there because they want to be there. Because we tell ourselves all these made up stories in our head, right? About who we are, about all the things that people should dislike about us. They should dislike this feature to society standard, maybe forever. I remember being a kid and being bullied for my lips, and then now as an adult, that's the first thing that people compliment me on. They're like, "Oh my gosh, they're so nice," and I'm like, "Okay, like this is a change." But being secure in that fact as we age and as we grow, being secure in the bodies that we have, and the personalities that we have, and the character and the integrity that we have, and even like in the boundaries that we create, I think it can be easy. I think a lot of people feel like maybe their boundaries that I work with are maybe too much. They feel like maybe I shouldn't, maybe I'm asking too much of my partner, or maybe I'm asking too much of myself. But no, like, you're allowed to say no. You're allowed to have hard stops. You're allowed to want to go to this line with somebody and not further. I think, when I first started dabbling with boys, one of the first things, like my first sexual experience with a man, like, I mean, it was insane. It was like the most insane day of my life. It was terrible sex, but I remember like doing so many things because my thought process, like as a lesbian woman, was, well, all the straights are doing it. Like, all the straight people are doing it, so I'm gonna do all these things. Whatever he asked of me, I did, because I just thought that was standard, and it's not.
I'm so curious about this. So when you had that encounter, that sexual experience with this man, did he not really take time to explore your body and pleasure you and make you feel desired? Did he not do that?
Oh, that first encounter with that man was like I said, the worst experience sexually that I've ever had. And like it was so focused on him. Now, of course, as someone who has had sex before, I was like, I couldn't base every encounter with men moving forward on him. But no, it was very selfish. It was I can't even call it love. It was a very selfish encounter. That I 10 out of 10 would not recommend, but it really changed my perspective and helped me see a lot of things in a different way, for sure.
Well, I'm a straight woman. I've had other women encounters. I've slept with other women. It's not my cup of tea, but what is about it that is my cup of tea is that they understand my body. It's a shared experience. It's not a one-sided thing. And it was very sensual and sexual. That part I liked. I tend to like a penis, but I will tell you, being this I have been the dating guru because I've dated more than you could ever imagine. And I've had a lot of sex with a lot of different people, and let's just put it that way. And this is the thing, a massive amount. I'm not going to put a percentage in my head. The first number that came to my head was 98% of my sexual experiences have been men who are I call selfish lovers. And you do once in a while get a great lover who it's a mutual 100%, but not always.
Yeah.
Men tend to be a little bit more selfish than women. So I get the appeal of being a lesbian. I do.
It's so funny.
If a lesbian had a dick, I'd be happy.
No, you know what? Most of my sexual partners now, I would say, well, I'm for the most part monogamously sleeping with one person, and that person is a male. And I mean, it's very intentional. It's for a reason. But yeah, and I have no complaints about the sexual experience that I have with him. It's been amazing, and I've learned, like I said, so much about myself. It's the first time that I've ever been submissive in my life to someone, so it's been really eye-opening. So it's So I think, like you said, every partner is so different.
Do you not find that in your lesbian relationships that there's not very much master, no, that kind of BDSM experiences? Have you not?
There definitely are. I think this partner that I have right now is for a completely different reason. I can't even like lump them into the same category. However, like there is definitely a lot of kink that goes into this dynamic.
Okay.
But I think that when it comes to like me personally and like my lesbian relationships, they're different. Like there are definitely some very dominant females out there. I consider myself to be dominant, but I'm a very soft dominant person. I am very much, I'm not going to choke you. I'm probably not going to spank you like that. I'm probably going to be a little bit like more timid. Like I'm like, oh my God, am I hurting you, little baby? Like that's just me. and so for that reason, like I tend to like not have kinky lesbian relationships. And that's fine. Like I'm very much like I like to please. Like I'm not a girl, I like to fight for my food. I'm very much there. But when it comes to like being in male maybe dynamics for myself, I've learned that I can allow men to be more aggressive with me, if that makes sense. So I'm not the one that has to give in that way. I'm very much a talker. Like I'm very talkative. I like to express my needs, express my wants, and having a partner that actually listens and is willing to just like do all the adventurous things with me right now. That's kind of where I'm at in life. It's like, all right, let's try it all. Let's do anything that we can think of. And it's very fun. And it's helped me get to know myself and also in turn be able to help other people figure out how they want to navigate and the things that are really important, like the communication, right? Like that's a really big piece with any partners, being able to say like, hey, I would like this. Would you be okay with this? And it's not about pleasing them or like just doing what they want, but it's about you guys both having fun together.
Yeah.
What would you say? You talked about submission, and there's so much controversy with that word.
Oh yeah, 100%.
What would you say what is that? What do you tell people your idea of what submission is?
Yeah, I think as someone who grew up religiously, like to me, submission was always just disgusting, right? Like I just always looked at submission as like, well, I was taught that submission was like this thing that happens in heteronormative dynamics where, the wife submits to the man rules the household and he has final say and like all these things that was just so unappealing to me. But as I entered into a dynamic that, I've dabbled into, myself and learning that I was more dominant, per se, but now being in a submissive role, I think that submission is really about respect. It's about trust, and it's about safety. Like I can never see myself submitting to someone that I don't trust. I can never see myself submitting to someone that I don't respect and that I don't feel safe with. Because if I don't feel all of those things with you, then there's no way that I'm going to desire to submit to you. And so submission to me isn't about like it's not obedience. Like when I submit to this man, it's not me obeying him or just listening to him. It's like I have a genuine desire to want to do the things that please him, right? Like I crave it at this point. So I think that's definitely what I would say the difference between, your traditional teachings and upbringings of submission is more out of obligation and out of duty and out of, your due diligence. And when you truly find someone that you respect and really trust and that you understand that if they say jump, it's because it's with your interests in mind. Submission is just natural. It's easy.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with you. You can't stress enough that when you are having a BDSM relationship with somebody, or it's in part of your relationship, it's really hard to have those kind of experiences with someone that you don't trust 100%. Because like you said, if you don't trust or respect them, you do not want to be that for them. You don't, you can't desire pleasing that other person, because I'm the same way. I was like, oh hell no, nobody's going to tell me what to do. It's like I've been told what to do my whole life. Fuck that shit. But no, but when I realized that it was something completely different, when I learned about that, it was like, oh, no, that's not what that is at all. That in my real life is like, yeah, fuck off. I'm my own person. We have 100% relationship or nothing. But in the bedroom, I'm all about whatever you want, babe. Show me the way. Show me the way. Lead on.
You lead and I will follow.
And I think also like it gets to the point like when you start exploring, because I think with me for like when I teach about sexual freedom or sexual exploration, it's really about liberating yourself. And so liberating yourself, like I said, from that shame, from that guilt. And I think when you come from a background that teaches that submission is out of obligation, and you finally learn, or you're finally in a dynamic where you have been submissive or you have aspects of submission, it can be like this like identity crisis, right? Like there's so many nuances to life. It can be like, oh my gosh, like I'm submissive, like this is gross, like I don't like it. You want to rebel against it because you want to rebel against the teachings that you were taught, but also, this is a completely different thing. And so I think there can be guilt and shame that even comes with that, because it's like, I don't want to identify as a submissive person because that was always, looked at from, as a negative thing, or looked at as something that I had to do. And I'm doing this because I want to versus because I have to. So there's a lot that goes into like the internal war of sexual freedom.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have a question, Jada?
No, I didn't.
She's like, no, I'm done.
I actually thought because I'm drinking this soda, I was gonna belch a little bit, but I didn't try to not be rude.
So I was just looking at some of your stuff with your bio, some of the stuff that you were talking about. You're talking about sexual exploration. Tell us a little bit about that. We always run out of time so fast. We've got only like 6-7 minutes left now. But if you don't mind, tell us a little bit more about sexual exploration.
I think there are so many ways to explore sexually. I feel like all Britneys are a little bit out there, right? So
I think so.
As a Brittany, the way that I began to sexually explore, like I said, it was through the sugar baby life. I was like, let me go out there and find sugar daddies that take care of me to like meet my needs. Like I didn't want to date necessarily, but I also like wanted to feel connected to people. And so that's one way that that's one way that people are very interested in. I'm surprised actually by how many people are interested in like what the sugar baby life is, and maybe not even just sexually, but just like what a dynamic what someone would be like. So there's that. There's also dating. I am the queen of the dating apps, okay? Like when I first entered the dating coach scene, I was like, my big thing was like I had gotten like 5,000 mutual quality like matches within like a 6-month period on like every dating app. And I was like actually like vetting people. And I was like, I didn't really like want to be with them, but like it was just like a thing. And so when I first entered like the dating world, like being able to be like, no, like I can really help you optimize your profiles and like really find true partnership. Mm-hmm. So I think leveraging the resources that are free, because not everybody wants to invest, a ton of money into maybe an app or into a platform or even a ton of their time. Like I'm home 24/7. I hate leaving the house all the time. Like I had a date this morning with a male from one of the little sugar daddy sites, and it was very much like just like a casual breakfast, but like sometimes I'm like, I don't want to go. Like I don't want to leave the house. So I think, exploring and like teaching people to find freedom through, like I said, the apps and like and going out, like leave your house. Like, I mean, I hate leaving the house, but like go to the store, put on a cute outfit, go to the store, go to the dog park. I've met plethora of lesbians at the dog park. It's just crazy. So just definitely, I think sexual exploration, like there are 1,000 ways to achieve it. And then even like with yourself, like explore your own body. Like don't be unfamiliar with it.
Yeah.
Get to know it.
I'm 100% about that. I talk all the time about you can't know how a man should please you if you can't learn to please yourself first.
Yeah.
You said a couple of things that I want to touch on really quick. First of all, I know a lot about the sugar baby world, but that is an entire episode. And
well, I know nothing about it.
well, Brittany, if you don't mind, after the show, if you can hang on a minute after we are completely, gone from the show, stay behind and hang on. I'd like to schedule you to come back and let's have a sugar baby episode because it's an entire world. And there's safe ways to do it, the right way to do it. It's and anybody can do it. Men, women,
100%.
older, younger, whatever. So we will touch on that. And shit, I forgot the other thing. Damn it, I forgot what the other thing was. Oh, I remember. I remember. You talk a lot about dating apps and how it can be exhausting. And I'm on Jada's team here. Jada is a matchmaker. I really believe in the matchmaking world. And they vet people, they do the work for you. And it's just a safe, smart way of really getting high quality people on your doorstep or a nice restaurant doorstep instead of yours. And it's for both men, women, gay, lesbian, whatever your desire is, there is a matchmaker for that. And I just think it's a smart way. I've dating apped most of my time and it's exhausting and annoying and terrible. So
it is.
I
wish there were more matchmakers for sugar daddies. I feel like they need it. Like someone do it.
I think that oh my God, you're onto something. We need to talk more about this because I do believe there should be a matchmaker for sugar baby, sugar daddies because one, they could vet, two, they know that they're real. And these websites that you can find sugar daddies or sugar babies on, they're dangerous. Because a lot of scammers are out there and some guys will take advantage and then not do what they're supposed to do to be the sugar daddy. It's fucked up. So there's a big bad world out there. I think we're onto something.
I think we are.
Well, I'm interested. Sign me up. I want to know more.
Please. I'll give you all the tea.
we need to find a matchmaker that we can turn them to doing sugar daddy, baby, sugar babies, whatever.
It would be so helpful. I had a very extensive talk with the sugar daddy the other day, and he was like, "Oh my God, I need someone to help me."
I think you're onto something.
I do. We're gonna have this discussion. That is for show. Yeah. Because I tried to dive into that world and it was really eye-opening and it was not a good experience for me because I was freely out in the big bad world of Los Angeles where people thought they were one thing and another. It was a lot of married men also thinking they were just going to waltz into town, have somebody here, pay them. It's like, look, I'm not your hooker and your side piece. Yeah, it wasn't. There's a lot of stuff out there. So we should come back and talk about that. Yeah. And we should find how to do matchmaking for that. So any parting words, Brittany? We're out of time now.
I think my only parting words would be that I just my wish for people would be just to stop kink shaming and stop shaming yourself for having desires. Yay. Because it's normal and hiding from yourself is never going to do you any favors because you're going to get old one day and be like, oh, I wish I did all these things. So I wish that people would just stop kink shaming. Just because you're vanilla doesn't mean the rest of us are, so
right. Be a vanilla but add some caramel and chocolate and sprinkles and fruit and just add it all in.
I'm for it. I will do anything. I'm that person.
There's some great rope tying stuff that goes in with BDSM that is the hottest shit you've ever heard of. We might have to have another BDSM episode where we talk more about, different kinds of things. Okay.
Okay. I've done it all. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. My boyfriend and I are into rope play, so and ribbon and rope. Woohoo!
Yours.
Right? All right. Well, Brittany, thank you for coming on today. We really appreciate you. We're going to have you back. We're going to talk more with you. Jada, always great to see your beautiful smiley face. And everyone out there, thank you for coming and listening. We really hope you come back and listen again. And we're going to be back here, same time, same place next week. And until then, let's keep it real.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends, like and follow us on Instagram at 50 Shades of _bullshit and Facebook at 50 Shades of Bullshit. Thanks so much for listening, and we really hope to see you again next week.